You ain't gotta wonder why. Just gon' hit with the truth. I had to let it all out. Remove the doubt in the booth. Too many people wear masks. Too many souls out of place. Everybody talk real till it show up in they face. Ain't no gimmicks over here. Ain't no capping for the net. Just pain, growth, lessons, and conversations they respect. Up and unfiltered, no filter, just facts. Real talk from the soul, put the truth on the map. Up and unfiltered, yeah, the real still exists. If they feel it in their spirit, then they know what this is. Couple scars made me wiser. Couple losses made me focus. Now I move with intention, while they move just for the notice. Late nights in the city, heavy thoughts on the ride. Real ones feel this different, cause we all fought the inside. No
Yo, yo, yo. Welcome to another episode of Up and Unfiltered, where the conversations are real, the topics get uncomfortable, and nothing gets sugarcoated. It's a place to laugh, listen, vent, and relate on what really matters. Talk about life as it is, where you are, where you're going, and how you're getting there. And through all of it, God is a part of the process. So no matter what gets discussed, it's real, relatable, and it's rooted. The topics may get uncomfortable, but when the conversation comes from the right place, it opens the door to understanding, growth, and meaningful dialogue. This is about opening up conversations around most things people deal with, have dealt with, but still struggle to talk about or say out loud. So honestly, whether it's relationships, work, family, culture, faith, I don't care if it's pressure, purpose, pain, or growth. If it's real, we talk about it. If it's uncomfortable, we don't avoid it. And most importantly, if it can help somebody, it belongs here. It's just real, it's relatable, and it's rooted. And today we are talking about something a lot of people avoid confronting, honestly. I call it the two versions of ourselves. Two versions of ourselves. Just, because truthfully, a lot of people are fighting internal battles that nobody else can see. Excuse me. And that is a fact. I've been through it myself, still going through it. I think still battling, you know, internal, what they call demons, just the old you, I guess you want to call it. You know, you get to a point where one version of you wants growth, wants to grow, and the other one wants comfort. So, one wants healing, the other wants to keep returning to what hurt them, quote unquote, in a sense. One version wants discipline, while the other keeps making excuses. I know that one all too well. And if we're being real, that battle shows up everywhere. Everywhere. I mean, literally though, everywhere. In relationships, habits, your character, integrity as a person, your faith, just private decisions of, you and your own life, just making choices and things we entertain when nobody else is around as well. You know what I mean? I guess those guilty pleasures, so to speak. Pause. Eventually, the truth is though, who you are in private becomes who you are in public. That's as straightforward as possible. That's just facts. But the biggest problem, issue that we come in contact with is that we live in a world where appearances matter more to people than honesty does. And that's truth. Everybody wants to look healed, look disciplined, look successful, look faithful. But very few people stop and ask themselves, who am I becoming behind closed doors? Pause. Because identity isn't built through image, bro. Ladies and gents, identity is it's built through consistency. Like what you do on a routine basis is who you are as a person. There's no other way to put that, slice it, serve it. Like Your identity is not an image. This social media nonsense, you know what I mean? Like having to put on a facade for somebody, right? It's built through consistency, and that consistency is your choice, period. Honestly, some of the hardest battles that we face aren't external battles at all. Sometimes the hardest battle is fighting the version of yourself that keeps pulling you backwards. It wants you to sit there and simmer on your past and feel guilty for everything and its mom that just has you taking steps back and back and back and always feel like you're not going forward. The version that avoids accountability, chases validation, quits when life, gets uncomfortable, compromises values to fit in, or keeps feeding habits that destroy peace internally, that version is unhealthy, very, very unhealthy. It's not going to propel you to anything good. And honestly, a lot of people are exhausted because they keep feeding two different identities. Call it what it is. Many of us have been through there and faced that battle, or still are, for those who do. And in some way, shape, or form, we all do, honestly. Even as we grow, you just get better equipped to keep fighting off that old self. Trying to grow spiritually while entertaining things that keep damaging them emotionally is backwards. Trying to walk in purpose while constantly needing approval from people, not they're not on the same page. It's oxymoron. You know what I mean? Trying to heal while refusing to confront what's actually broken. So how are you going to heal them? Ask that question to ourselves. They don't go hand in hand. Period. Pause. Growth requires honesty, pure, unfiltered, from the right place honesty. Period. You know what I mean? There's no sugarcoat on that. There's a way you can deliver it, right? Love, compassion, you know, with firmness, but you can't change it because you're trying not to hurt somebody's feelings. Because God can't transform the version of you who keeps pretending this doesn't exist. It's like seeing somebody, hurting somebody as you're passing by and you're just gonna keep walking and just not do anything about it. Like, that's crazy. Turning a blind eye is wild. Turning a blind eye is wild. And, with that, this is where it brings me to, God's words to scripture. And this is why scripture speaks so deeply about transformation, identity, and guarding your heart, your spirit. It's extremely important. But in Romans 12:2, the English Standard Version, Romans chapter 12, verse 2, do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Pause. You have to let that, when you hear things and you read things, you have to allow time to let it sink in and actually kind of meditate on what it's actually meaning. But just one more time, it's do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And that's again Romans chapter 12, verse 2, the English Standard Version. That verse really matters because transformation starts internally, guys. Internally, internally, inward, not external. Not how you look, not how you dress, not how much money you make, not who likes you, not who sees you, not your what house, cars, nothing of that, no material. God changes the mind, the heart, the spirit, and eventually the life follows. That is true. 100%. Speaking from experiences is all I'm saying. That's just truth. And God goes for he God has stuff for days for us on this stuff to give us wisdom, to balance our thoughts, to keep our heart posture in the right place, to not allow our hearts to be hardened. In James chapter 1, verse 8, it says, "He is a double-minded man, unstable in all his ways." Like, we all know what double-minded means, right? That's no different than like two-face, right? Double-minded means that you have two ways of thinking. So if you have two ways of thinking, I mean, then what's steering that ship? It's going to be pretty much dependent on where you're at mentally, right? So, and that's not steering you nowhere in a positive direction. That's just unstable as all get out. Like, you either stand firm in something that you believe, and it's not saying that you're not gonna have your shortcomings and your lows, ups and downs, ebbs and flows, but for the most part, you stand on 10 toes on, you know, what you believe and who you are and what's right, regardless of the backlash or, you know, scrutiny you're gonna get back from it. He is a double-minded man, unstable in all his ways, and that's what happens when we keep trying to live divided, right? In ourselves, family, country, doesn't matter how you wanna put it, like, a house divided cannot stand. You got one foot in growth and one foot in destruction. That's hokey pokey. One foot in purpose, one foot in dysfunction. Trying to become better while refusing to let go of what keeps pulling us backwards, right? Put my one foot in, I take my left foot up, I put my left foot in, and I take it all up. You're just doing the hokey pokey. And ultimately, you're playing yourself. That is like that literally taking 2 steps forward and 60 steps backwards all day long. Another one, Proverbs chapter 4, verse 23. Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Because everything you do flows from it. Everything flows from the heart. Your decisions, your reactions, your relationships, your peace, your identity, your faith. That's why what you feed internally extremely important. That what you feed yourself it's ultimately in a sense to what you're gonna become. That's how you're gonna think, it's how you're gonna move, it's how you're gonna behave, it's how you're gonna speak, it's how you're gonna feel, it's how you're gonna react. Your perspective will be in that realm. Dangerous. The saddest part is that a lot of people, for me, what breaks my heart is that a lot of people think identity comes from, especially we live in social media age. A lot of people think identity comes from followers, money, relationships, status, attention, acceptance, money, just everything other than what it's rooted from. Because real identity is spiritual. It's who you become when pressure hits. It's your character when nobody applauds you or sees you, right? It's how you move when nobody benefits from pretending anymore. Seriously. And eventually, what? Everybody reaches a moment where they have to decide. This is for anybody in life in any aspect. There comes a point in time where the rubber meets the road, right? When is enough enough? You have to decide: am I performing or am I becoming honest about who I really am? Pause. Are you becoming honest about who you really am, or who you really am, who you really are, and who you ultimately want to be? Because healing starts where honesty begins. Truth, right? Transparency all day. That's the only way. I think that's the only way. It's the only way you get peace, understanding, unity, revelation, sincerity, right? Connection. That's the only place you get connection. You know, you cannot become who God called you to be while constantly returning to the version of yourself He's trying to grow you out of. Guys, honestly, we can't. Growth requires discipline. Let's keep it real. Growth requires discipline. Healing requires honesty, transparency, truthfulness, and purpose requires identity. Requires it. Knowing who you are outside of not outside, without the facade, right? Removing that. Like, not about who people deem you are or say you are or who you're trying to be in front of them, but who you really are. Your purpose is found in that. So today, tonight, like, really, really truthfully, honestly ask yourself, which version of me am I feeding? Right? What side? What version? Just who do you want to be? And what version are you feeding? Because eventually the version you feed the most becomes the life you live on a constant. Bottom line. Like I said, if this spoke to you anyway, even a little, definitely tap in with me, comment, questions, whatever's on your mind. And if you know somebody who is battling with anything that we just discussed, growth, trauma, discipline, healing, change, anything, make sure you share this with them. Appreciate y'all for listening and chopping it up. Be sure to follow me, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, X, Facebook, for sure. Link up with me. Appreciate y'all. And remember this, growth starts getting real when excuses stop sounding convincing to you anymore. All right? Protect your peace and be honest with yourself. As always, this is Up and Unfiltered. Conversations are real, relatable, and rooted. No filter, just facts, all God. I'll catch y'all next week. Stay humble, stay blessed, stay up.